All of my different AISES experiences make the recipe of like the scientist that I am today.
Like his ancestors, Keith Parker knows this river as well as anyone. The challenge is that climate change is shifting the entire baseline of what is known.
We're using our old models, which don't seem to apply anymore because of all of the things that are happening with climate change.
Parker is senior fisheries biologist for the Yurok Tribe, responsible for the last 44 miles of the Klamath River as it empties into the Pacific Ocean. An environmental steward, his knowledge is sought after regionally and nationally, especially as the numbers of salmon have nosedived. The tribe closed fishing this year, this net confirming the problem: no salmon at all.
We're destroying the ocean. Bottom line is the ocean is under stress. Here are the temperature changes, acidification, plasticity out there. They're starving.
A lifelong fisher, Parker became interested in Western science later in life. He took every opportunity AISES had to offer, and a 2012 speech by Dr. Henrietta Mann inspired him to attend grad school.
It is your birthright to be a scientist on your indigenous land. She goes, you understand that? It's your birthright. We were the original scientists on this land way before the settlers came. Don't let anybody ever tell you different.
Soon, Parker blended tribal knowledge with state-of-the-art genetics in study of Pacific lamprey, a boneless eel-like fish with no commercial use but with great historic value to tribes as a food source in winter.
This was by design by the creator for us. This highly lipid fish shows up in the wintertime when the salmon have stopped running.
Over the years, tribal fishers noticed some Pacific lamprey were different than others, even though they ran upriver at the same time.
I measured their length, their girth just behind the last breathing hole here, the interdorsal spacing.
Parker caught and measured more than 200 fish, and to test their genetics, partnered with a lab co-managed by the Columbia River Intertribal Fish Commission.
Now we're up to about 150,000 individual samples that we have for lamprey. Wow. From all over the Northwest.
You can see if there's 100 fish on each of these grids, there's thousands and thousands of samples within this one box. And so
in the database, scientists already had detected gene outliers, but it was Parker's mix of tribal science and high-throughput genetics that uncovered the full story. Discovery of 2 new subspecies, one maturing in the river and one in the ocean.
they're important to the tribes, and I think people have really gained some momentum as far as understanding and appreciating Pacific lamprey and their role not only in the ecosystem, but their importance to the Native American community across their range.
Another colleague says genetics alone are less helpful without an intimate species understanding that can come from tribal knowledge.
It's a very delicate thing to be able to go in and study the right things so that you know what could be important for the species itself and its survival. Keith
Parker is one of a kind
his own
who shares
expertise
expertise as a
cow
Humboldt lecturer.
People's knowledge of that species going back many generations.
Hess says Keith Parker is one of a kind who shares expertise as a Cal Poly Humboldt lecturer and a curriculum developer.
Keith's ability to tie in the ecology with the culture, Western science, and our world sciences, that's one of his greatest gifts, his ability to communicate that to practically anybody.
Parker's rare expertise is part of understanding how species are adapting to climate change and to such other events as the pending removal of 4 different Klamath dams.
So what we have to do is just get out of the way. We just have to get these dams down, move out of the way, and let these fish do what they've been doing for since time immemorial. These Pacific lamprey, these sturgeon, they're in the fossil record for 500 million years. They've been doing this for 500 million years. They carry the genes of their ancestors, right? Salmon are the same way, and yet they persist, just like our people. We continue to persist because we're strong and we're powerful, and we carry the genes of those that came before us.